Hello! This video is about mechanical scroll encoders and some of the issues that a lot of them inevitably develop over time. Naturally, getting a new encoder is recommended as you would get a new part that is clean inside with newer springs and newer contacts. However, in a case where you're waiting for your part or just wanting to get a tinkering, this video might be able to help. Most mechanical encoders would have a singular rotating part that sends electrical signals to the PCB when completing the circuit. The rotating contact piece itself is a set of three spring-like legs that touch the circular plate. This is what separates individual steps when you're rotating your scroll wheel up and down. The feeling of tactility would be the tensioner on the outside of the rotating part. The issue that I find most encoders would have is that dust and debris would gather into the contact cavity. That or the metal spring that touches the contacts become rusty or dirty. Despite scroll encoders manufactured to have rather tight clearance to prevent debris from falling through, it still gathers something occasionally. A solution out there in the market would be implementing a plastic dust cover. However, mechanical failure of the encoder is still possible. Most of the time, I would suspect that contact springs are loose and not properly touching the plate itself. A real quick note, you could definitely try to solder off the encoder, then disassemble the encoder from there. However, in this video, since I anticipate breaking this encoder while tinkering, I already have a backup. I decided to continue disassembly while having it still installed inside the mouse PCB. Definitely be very careful. There are tabs that need to be straightened to release the contact component from latching onto the main shell. Once straightened, bend the center of the encoder to release the internal parts. There will be two pieces, one is the tensioner, and the actual connection spring that touches the circular plate. In this video, the connection spring has a dark piece of plastic stuck between the spring prongs which blocks direct connection. I've cleaned it with alcohol wipe and tweezers and dried it with compressed air. Another thing is that one of the legs is noticeably flatter compared to the other two. Using tweezers or flathead screwdrivers, delicately bend it upward so that it could have more solid contact with the circular plate. Clean the circular plate with rubbing alcohol and dry it with compressed air. The reassembly part is rather tricky and require a pair of pliers. Lay the wheel tensioner on top of the outside of the contact springs and refit itself within the guides. Use your fingers and try to clamp them together and insert your scroll wheel. Turn it to see if you're able to feel any kind of tactility, and if your wheel is rotating freely, that means that the tensioner is misaligned. Reopen and refit it again until you can rotate your scroll wheel with its original tactility. Then test to see if your scroll wheel is registering scrolling signals. Once you feel tactility, use your pliers and clamp down to re-secure everything back into place, along with the tabs. I do hope this helps those who are interested in repairing their scroll encoders, and satisfied those who are curious about the inside components and how it looked. In most cases, soldering new encoders might be a more productive use of your time, but for me it was incredibly fun disassembling, learning, and cleaning a once broken scroll encoder. However, for viewers who don't want to deal with mechanical encoders, mice with optical encoders are definitely something you should look into. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching.